The Denver Broncos reported to Broncos Park this week for the first week of OTAs for a 3-day session of organized team activities from Tuesday to Thursday. Only Thursday's practice was available to the media, which is why you guys are seeing the clips on the screen right now. To me, Bo Nix absolutely stole the show. I get he's the quarterback and we're going to have our eyes on him, but just the chemistry that he's been able to pick up so early with RJ Harvey, for example, of course, his wide receiver one, and Cortland Sutton, who I believe is due for an extension. It was definitely a beautiful thing to see. The Broncos, they're locked in. They're laser beam focused. There's Talanoa Hufanga, getting our first look at him, of course, in a Broncos jersey. I'm excited about him just roaming the safety position. This is a much improved team on both sides of the ball. They were already very good. Best defensive football last year, double-digit wins, making the wild card, just making the playoffs. For the first time in, 9 seasons? It was just unbelievable. Of course, the team fell short against the Bills, but they learned a lot and they're growing from it. And now here we are, of course, in OTAs, where there's only one thing on this team's mind, and that's to win a Super Bowl. So we're going to talk about 4 things in particular in this video. The first one's going to be Bo Nix. The second one is going to be Evan Ingram. We're going to be talking about RJ Harvey, Audric Estime, Joel McLaughlin, so the running backs, the tight ends. I also do want to get into Dre Greenlaw. And the final thing is going to be who should the Broncos look to extend. Of course, they already have a lot of key guys locked up, like Patrick Surtain, for example, signed the biggest contract for a corner in NFL history. But now all the eyes are focusing towards the defensive ends and the outside linebackers. So let's get into it, man. Starting off with Bo Nix. So you have to understand that when Nix was at Auburn and Oregon, he had a different coach and a different play caller every single season. This is the first time since high school he's had the same head coach and play caller in place in back-to-back seasons. Not to mention the same quarterback coach, of course, who is Davis Webb. So Nix, he's got consistency, and having all of those different coaches definitely is not ideal, but you learn a lot from them, and that's why he just came in and immediately took the NFL by storm. And this offseason, he's just once again learning the playbook even more advancedly, and they're going to be able to just let him be in control and run the offense. Sean Payton's going to call the plays, but Nix is fully capable of audibling and doing whatever he'd like out there because he's really a young veteran in this league. I mean, I haven't seen a rookie quarterback, come in like Bo Nix in a while. Joe Burrow comes to mind. He was ready to go right away. Of course, there was some, but just Bo Nix, he came in, he got better and better every single week. He didn't turn the ball over, and by the end of the season, he already was a Pro Bowl and one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And a lot of it has to do with Sean Payton, but it's also who he's going up against in practice. When you have an elite defense like the Denver Broncos, well, that means that you have to go up against them in practice. So that certainly helps because you're not playing a better defense in the regular season or in the playoffs. I think Evan Ingram is going to be a huge storyline during OTAs because he is, of course, the starting tight end. He was brought in free agency. He's going to be a focal point of Denver's offense this season, and OTAs offer an important early chance for Nix and him to develop chemistry. Running back position as well. RJ Harvey will play a significant role in the offense in year one. The battle behind him is going to be Audric Estime, who's still the youngest player on the roster at 21, had an up-and-down rookie season that included a stint on injured reserve, early ball security issues, promising flashes near the season's midway point, and an inactive destination for the team's playoff game. So you can see, we've seen the good, we've seen the bad of Estime, but he's super young. Joel McLaughlin, who I like a lot, he's entering his 3rd season. Of course, he's just going to maintain a change of pace back. That's so important in the NFL. You have your power backs, you have your speed. You want to be able to mix and match them to be able to throw the defense off. Tyler Bidet is certainly another guy who's going to get some carries. Blake Watson, is he going to be able to contribute something to this team? That's going to be something to keep an eye on. In terms of the defensive backfield, this is something that I spoke about during my Broncos draft video, and a lot of people disagreed. I don't know why. But we can't just ignore that Jaquan McMillan is currently the team's nickel. I get that Jahdae Barron was a first-round pick. He was one of the more prolific prospects in his starting job, so these guys are going to have to compete. Or, of course, will he find his way into an outside corner role, pushing Riley Moss, talking about, of course, Barron? I don't think so. I mean, probably he's going to end up playing in the nickel, but again, it's not 100%. I mean, guys are competing right now. There's a lot of talent. When you have a defense this good, if you don't show up to camp and work and get better every single day, you're in jeopardy of losing your spot. And we're looking on the other side at receiver, who's going to be Bo Nix's number 2 target outside of Courtland Sutton. Right now, you have to imagine it's going to be Pat Bryant, rookie, of course. I mean, 6'2", 204. He's got the size. Good athlete as well. I'm excited. You also got Devon Veely. You've got Marvin Mims Jr., who showed a lot of promise late in the season. Troy Franklin's more of a deep go ball type of guy, of course, with his size and hands. So the Broncos receiver is going to be a huge thing to keep an eye on. I love what they have at running back. I love what they have at tight end. Do they have enough behind Courtland Sutton? That's going to be something to keep an eye on. But I think the biggest thing for Denver is just running the football. Bo Nix is so good, but you've got to give him a balanced offense. You've got to be two-dimensional, and you want to be as least predictable as possible. That's going to be the key for Denver. They got up to a great start against the Bills. They marched right down the field, had a huge ball, but after that, non-existent. Got to be able to run the ball to win in the NFL. Doesn't even matter how good your quarterback is. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. You got to be able to run the ball, and the Broncos are learning that. That's why they took R.J. Harvey. Some people will argue that they took him a little bit too early. I disagree. I really liked him in college. I think he's going to be a stud at UCF. And then looking at linebacker depth, right now, Dre Greenlaw is certainly going to be a full participant in training camp. But the thing is he's going to miss at least some, if not all, of the offseason program. Alex Singleton, meanwhile, is still in the final stage in Strahd, who's back on a one-year deal. So those are going to be guys who are going to, once again, be asked to step up and make some plays. And that's a huge opportunity. We saw Strahd, for example, was a special teams guy, and he ended up playing linebacker just because of the injuries. So, I'm excited about this linebackers, man, just both, of course, on defense and in special teams. And then looking at the last thing that I want to talk about in this video, that's going to be extensions. So keep an eye on Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, Nick Bonitto, and Courtland Sutton. Sutton's definitely the most realistic guy of those four that's going to get extended, probably shortly just because he didn't get a long-term extension. They just reworked his contract. And then in terms of Nick Bonitto, I mean, I thought he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Of course, Surtain ended up getting it from him. But Bonitto absolutely wreaked havoc with his ability to get after the quarterback and even catch the football. We saw him make a couple of plays there where he was able to get his hands on the ball. So the Broncos, I'm going to be looking forward to their OTAs. Most importantly, camp. I mean, OTAs is voluntary. Like, you don't have to be there. It's not that big of a deal. But the Broncos, I mean, man, they're an AFC contender for sure.